Okay, we'll call to order this March the 6th, 2019 meeting of the Franklin County Commission. Roll call.
Commissioner Stottlemyre,
Present.
Commissioner Waymire, Chair Howard,
Present.
Vice Chair Dickinson,
Present.
Commissioner Dunn.
Present.
If you'd all stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for the invocation that will be led by Pastor Jessica Hanks of the First Baptist Church.
Would you pray with me? Holy God, we are so grateful for this day that we might gather together in this place. And holy God, we are grateful that you are just and you are holy. God, that you are merciful, that you are gracious. And as we are gathered in this place, Lord, we ask for your wisdom over our leaders, that you would give them wisdom as they plan, as they make decisions, as they lead us forward. Lord, bless them in their efforts. We give you praise and glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thanks, Jessica. Okay, it takes us to correspondence and organizational business. Derek, do we have anything there?
No, sir.
Everyone signed up for public comment? Okay, it takes us to the consent agenda. Items that need considered and approved today on the consent agenda is to approve claim vouchers in the amount of $447,831.97 and tax change orders in the amount of a minus $103.66. To approve the Franklin County Commission meeting minutes for February the 27th, 2019. Approve the Franklin County Commission study session minutes for March the 4th, 2019. And to approve payroll for the pay period of January the 21st, 2019 through February the 20th, 2019 in the amount of $1,204,728.17. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Stottlemyre,
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson,
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn,
Yes.
Chair Howard.
Yes.
I got you, Commissioner Dunn, as the second.
Okay, it takes us to items of business. First item will be to consider approving signing a 3-year service agreement with True Green for lawn treatment of the courthouse, visitor center, and lawn center. Brandon?
This is just another 3-year contract with True Green to do our lawn treatment for those 3 properties. They've been doing this for us for a while now, at least 3 years prior to this that I know of. And so this is the same pricing that we were paying before. It's just another contract with them.
So you say we've had it for 3 years and it's just up now, we're renewing it then?
Correct. Yeah.
What actually do they do, Brandon?
They do fertilizing, weed control, and they'll do a fungicide treatment at the courthouse.
They do any reseeding of bare areas?
They do that, but if we decide to do something like that, that would be an extra cost with that.
So give me a little back, because I'm not up to speed on this. Is this something that went out for bid so many years, 3 years ago, or what?
I couldn't answer that. I don't really know. I'm sure that it probably did, but I really don't know the history.
I don't.
Yeah, we've had trouble getting interest in this project. And in fact, when we reached out to another vendor here before bringing this today, we were told that there's no interest in it. And so I don't know that putting it out for bid would be fruitful. And then when you look at our purchasing policy, and given the fairly minimal amount of this, it's not required to be put out for bid. So I think when we weighed both of those, not feeling like there was another vendor who wanted to do it, plus the fairly minimal cost, we've been happy with them.
Only reason I asked is because I wasn't there when it happened. And I know there's been several in and out vendors over the years,
Yeah.
When we quit doing it ourselves, we went through 2 or 3 vendors in several years.
Well, and this isn't to be confused with our lawn service. This is just the fertilizing, I mean, we use a different company to mow and,
That's why I didn't recognize the name.
yeah. Who is it that does our mowing for us? It's back with Tom's.
Right,
Is it
Tom's
Tom? Okay, that answered, okay.
Tom still does all
Okay.
of our mowing and maintenance. This is just for fertilizing,
Okay.
weed killer, all of
I
that.
was gonna say, I knew they did those kind of things, but I didn't,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do they treat the area just east of the visitor center, that field? Do they do that too, or not?
I think they go just to the, fence there. I think that's all that they do.
Sounds
Or we should pay
practical.
for the field.
Any more questions for Brandon? If not, I would look for a motion to approve signing a 3-year service agreement with True Green for lawn treatment of the courthouse, visitor center, and law center.
Motion to approve.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yeah.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Chair Howard?
Yes. Thanks, Brandon. Item number 2, consider authorizing the chair of the Franklin County Commission to execute the biennial bridge inspection proposal from CFS Engineers. David?
Commissioners, every 2 years, we are required by the Kansas Department of Transportation and the Federal Highway Administration to inspect all of our bridges in the county. We have 241 of those that need to be inspected. This has been a ongoing thing every 2 years. They provide us a fairly extensive report of all of our bridges. They rate those bridges. They tell us if there's any maintenance items that need to be addressed. And if there are any immediate action, things that need to be addressed immediately, they let us know those things as well. We use this information to work on our bridges. We also use this information to help us get grants from KDOT to fund bridge replacement projects, such as the one that we've got on Pawnee Road coming up a little bit later this year. We have a proposal from CFS Engineers to conduct this work at a cost of $86 per bridge. CFS has been providing this service to the county since, I believe, 1989. And so every other year, they're on the job for us providing this report. They're also somebody that, because of their extensive knowledge of our bridge systems, we reach out to them whenever we have emergency situations to come and evaluate and give us advice on how to go forward. So we would like to continue with their inspection services. And so today we're here asking for you to execute the contract for the biennial bridge inspections. An affirmative motion would read as follows. I make a motion to authorize the chair to execute the biennial bridge inspection proposal from CFS Engineers.
David, you might explain to the board that Cook, Flat, and Strobel, they're not just our bridge guys. I mean, they're bridge guys for everyone. I mean, they pretty much got the whole state on lockdown, correct?
Yeah, they have been providing this service for counties all over the state for years and years. Their depth of knowledge of the bridge systems throughout the state are second to none.
And when you look at $86 a bridge for an extensive inspection with detail, that's not bad.
No, ma'am.
David, we took on a couple more bridges on Old 59 north of Ottawa. Are they included in this, the bridge study?
I believe so.
I know the deck over the railroad track is getting pretty rough. I don't know if that's what, wondered if they did those two now.
Yeah, I believe so. I can check on that to verify, but I believe that is included.
Okay, more questions for David? Pretty cut and dried. If not, I would like to look for a motion to approve the chair to execute the biennial bridge inspection proposal. No has it in front of her, so.
I make a motion to authorize the chair to execute the biennial bridge inspection proposal from CFS Engineers.
Motions are second.
Second.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Chair Howard?
Yes. Okay, takes us to staff reports. Derek?
Yeah, couple of things. First, Larry and I are in the process of trying to get bids for a septic system out at the visitor center. That's something that we've kind of talked about intermittently for a while now. One of the things we've discovered is at some point this winter, the cap to the tank they have out there was damaged, and now it's taking on groundwater. So whereas before, it needed to be emptied, I mean, wasn't often at all, once a month, once every couple of months, it's turned into a weekly thing. And so given the cost associated with that, the cost of repairing that, we're looking at a septic system. I think that's what they've wanted out there over the long term. It certainly makes more sense than continuing to pay someone to come and empty a holding tank. And so that will, once we have bids, that will be before you guys for your approval. That is obviously an expense that can be paid for using TGT funds, which, we have an ample amount of those. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to quote what a septic system would be, but I feel like it's in maybe the $15,000 range, somewhere in there. And so, but that'll be before you here in a couple weeks.
I think
How large of a lot is that?
I don't know how large.
That'll make a difference on what kind
Yeah.
of system you can put in.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's got enough room for a septic. We've done that, but I don't know the size.
It seems like when we talked about this quite a while back, if I remember right, hooking up to the city was way more expensive, or even maybe out of the question, or?
Yeah, I feel like that, would be around $100,000 expense.
I knew it was pretty expensive.
I think the line's on the other side of the road. I think that's the challenge.
Yeah.
And then, it's crazy, but we're on the cusp of budget season already for the 2020 budget. And whether she wants to do it now or later, I'll have Janet talk through I think you all have some community partners info, and I'll let her talk you through that, but that's all I have, so.
Brandon, you have anything else? David?
Okay, a couple things upcoming that just want to make you aware of that hopefully I'll be bringing before you next week. We've got the dates for the spring cleanup set, and so we want to get your approval for that so that we can start advertising. And then dust control, I've been looking at that pretty hard the last few days. A couple of things that I'm seeing right off the bat: we haven't increased our the amount of money that we're charging for dust control since 2005. I would like to look at increasing that to get a little closer to covering our expenses on it. And so I'm in the middle of analyzing that right now. I'm not sure that we'll be able to ever capture all of our costs associated with it. But I would like to get a little bit closer if possible. So I'll be bringing that to you as soon as I have better data.
And I'll chime in there. I think dust control has been a frequently discussed topic, and I think that's going to be an unpopular decision, but I don't think that the taxpayers as a whole can be asked to subsidize those who, the select few who are electing to have dust control. So David and I will sit down and we'll look at what it's costing us, and I'll probably bring a recommendation to you that we increase that. Having said that, though, one of the common complaints that the board has gotten is that we'll put dust control down and the road will be in great shape, and a grader will come and blade it all up, and then, you know, the dust control will lose its effectiveness. And so that's also something that I want to talk with you about, David, and maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know, but I do know we've gotten that complaint a lot since I've been here. So.
I think it was set up where the dust controls went from certain date to certain date. And that end date would come up, and it was working great, and they weren't having any issues, they weren't having any dust, and that end date would come up, and some of the blade operators would just, well, it's September the 1st now, that's the end of it, and blade it. And that was a lot of complaints, like, why? It's working good, we pay for it, why are they having to blade it up? So that was one I had a couple different people in my district that was upset because they said every year this happens, just when it's really working good, they come in and blade it.
I'm finding that there are a number of issues related to this, to providing the dust control that that's part of what I'm trying to research and learn a little bit more about what we've experienced in the past, in addition to what some of the concerns are from the public.
What is the date is it supposed to go from when to when?
Well, technically, from last year, I'm about a month behind in this process. The goal is to really get it on before we get into the heavy summer months. And so, and then it's a 6-month period between the time we put it on till we're not supposed to blade any, to blade those.
Because our neighbors have a dust control, so it's in front of our house also, and it's great. We get some pretty good potholes though in there because they aren't blading, and they do a really good job of stopping, you know, and not blading in there. But
it's not a perfect system, I'll tell you. And so it's a service that we've been providing for quite a long time, and the list seems to be growing each year. And I can tell you that the time that it takes us to prep those areas is not insignificant. In fact, this year I'm a little bit concerned heading into spring, knowing what's ahead of us due to all the road issues that we've had this winter. And in order to facilitate the dust control, we may have to postpone a road that really needs a lot of work in order to prep the roads that get dust control. So that's, you know, I'm struggling with that concept a little bit. So, you know, again, I'm trying to take a holistic look at all this to come up with a recommendation to move forward.
so if it's a 6-month, it truly should have been, and it's September 1st, it should have been March 1st.
Yes, ma'am. Well, last year we performed the dust control. We were, this time right now, we were out prepping roads and putting the dust control down. And so, but I know in years past, it's been June whenever they do it. So it's just depends on circumstances.
I do think something that you've talked about since you've been here that would be great for this purpose too is educating the public. And I don't know, I still don't know the best way to do that, David, but I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. As I think, you know, in addition to why roads get bad in the winter but just, you know, dust control and what our policy is. And I think the more we educate, the better off we'll be. So I want to keep that on your radar.
I will. Thank you.
David, so when we go to these conferences, there'll be several vendors with different products for dust control. I don't know if we ever looked at different products.
I'm not certain of that. What I've been able to determine is that when we bid these, generally we get one bidder. And so, you know, I will try to identify others and reach out to them personally to see if they'd be interested in looking at our project. I know there are different types of products out there. It's just trying to get folks interested.
Okay.
Also, mowing season is just around the corner, and we've got a tractor and boom mower that are in need of replacement. And so I've got some information on that I'll be bringing forward to you all to hopefully get us a new setup for that so that we're ready to go as soon as mowing season gets here. I thought I would also give you a little bit of an update on Legacy Square. As I think all of you know, we had our groundbreaking yesterday afternoon. I think it was very well attended despite the frigid temperatures. And so it's really exciting to see a project like that coming forth, led by the community. I want to personally thank you all, the commissioners, for supporting that project. Without that support and the support of so many in the community, really countywide, this project wouldn't be coming to fruition. We're about 90% of the way there in our fundraising goals, and we are working tirelessly to fill that gap as construction gets started here. So I think today they're going to be putting up some fences around the area and doing some striping and some signage and that sort of thing to make sure that everybody is aware of what's happening there and start folks getting used to the parking situation and the detours and that sort of thing. But we are really excited about this. And I think for me personally, one of the things that is exciting is, and I think this was mentioned yesterday at the post office, was the fact that this project, the success that we've had in this project, will lead to other successes down the road in future projects, whatever those may be, wherever they may occur in the county. We have proven that the community can come together to do something special like this. And so I'm really looking forward to getting this one off the ground, but I'm also looking forward to what's coming down the pike in the years to come. Two more things. Tomorrow morning I'll be speaking with the Optimist Club, and then I've been asked to speak to the Wellsville Chamber, and I'll try to do that. I'm not sure I'll be able to get to it in March, but we'll certainly get there in April. I think that's all for now.
Hey, Don, before I forget, when is Wellsville's next?
Second Tuesday
It's the second Tuesday.
at noon.
That's when Wellsville,
Yeah.
the city commission meets?
No, I thought you said chamber.
No, the city of Wellsville.
Second Wednesday and the fourth Wednesday, isn't it, Janet?
That sounds right.
I think it's the second and the fourth Wednesday,
What time?
6.
6.
They actually, a year or two ago, moved it up to 6 o'clock, and it is 6 o'clock. And it was just last week, so, yeah, was there, yeah,
We might talk about that
Okay.
after the meeting.
okay.
If you're writing those down, and Richmond meets the second Tuesday of every, at 7 o'clock, and Williamsburg meets the first Monday at 7 o'clock. The two out of my district, anyway, that's third time, so.
Thank you.
They both were 7:30, and both of them moved their meetings up to 7 o'clock
7 o'clock.
recently, so.
And Princeton is the first Monday at 7.
So those of you who attend those meetings, if they have changes like that, let us know, because we try to keep that all updated on our website. So under the city's portion of our website, we try to put that out there so that all of our citizens know when those communities are having their meetings. So we do our very best to keep their elected officials up to date on there. When we have an election, I have those all updated, so we try to have the appropriate city clerk, the mayor, all the council members, and their appropriate meeting times. So if you guys want to look at the cities on there that you represent, and let me know if their meeting times and their officials are correct. I don't always get notification from those cities when they change officials. You know, if someone resigns and they have to put someone else in office, they don't always let me know. So if you can look at that and let me know, that'd be great. This morning I gave you each a packet of information in a manila folder. Those are your community partner applications that we received, and we'll be reviewing those next week. Also in there should have been a tentative schedule. Derek and I discussed this yesterday, and what we plan to do is we have in the past had it on a study session, but the way your study sessions fall this year, it would be several weeks before we'd be able to get it onto a study session. So we're going to go ahead and have it at a regular Wednesday meeting. So we plan to open the meeting with all the normal things, give time for public comment, all of those, and then start the community partners at 8:45. So that being said, we'll have all of our regular agenda items after the community partners, so that we can give them an approximate time that they will have time to speak. And that way also our department heads will know, you know, what time they need to, approximate time they need to be here to after the community partners speak, so that they can have their agenda items heard.
And we're going to do that next Wednesday?
We're going to do that next Wednesday, yes. So again, your tentative schedule is in there. Everything I received from each entity is in there. You can let me know if you have any questions about it, but each person will have a representative here next week. They'll give you approximately a 10-minute presentation, and then we'll have about 5 minutes for questions of that organization about their funding request.
And to be clear, and particularly Don and I don't know how familiar you are, we're not asking you to make any decisions next
No.
week. We're just receiving presentations, and then we typically give it a week.
We typically give it a week, but I think this year will probably be 2 weeks because we'll have spring break in there. Just like I said, just the way your meetings fell and stuff with spring break, we'll probably do that the meeting following spring break so that everyone can be here. And we will ask you to fill out a sheet and then have that back to me before that meeting so that we can get all your results compiled and get that back to you guys, so we can provide you guys some estimates of costs and different scenarios that we've provided you in the past, like, you know, the average of what you guys suggested, the median of what you guys suggested, all those different things. So the low, the high, so you guys can make some decisions about where you want to be in funding our community partners this year.
I haven't
Well-
looked at the packet. Are we got the same community partners we had last year, or have we added anything?
Yep.
And we've emphasized to them throughout this process, one of the issues we heard last year from a couple of you was, or I think there were questions on specifically, what were these dollars, the dollars that the county gave, what were they being used for? And so we've tried to emphasize to each of our partners, that's the type of information that the board's going to want to hear. That way, you will hear, this is what your money's being used for specifically, and that will hopefully allow each of you to feel better about your recommendations, because I don't know that that was made clear last year, at least not from everyone. And so I'm hopeful that we'll maybe get a little bit more detail this year and a little more clarity in that regard.
I did speak with, a couple of them had questions about that, and I did speak with them personally about that. Some of our community partners use your funds that you give them to leverage other funds, and that has not been made clear in the past. So, you know, talking about how your funds, that the county tax dollars that are given to them are used to further multiply their funds, that was not discussed in the past. So they know going forward that they need to give you all the information as to the benefit of the funds that you guys allocate to them. So hopefully we'll hear those things next week when they present, and you can get an accurate representation of what the county funds are going to be spent on.
We've spent, and last thing I'll say on this, but we spent some time at our retreat, and I know we've talked about, you know, the role of the commissioners versus the role of staff. And this is getting into the budget process, and this is really the most important thing that the commissioners do for the organization. I mean, I think you do a lot of incredibly important things, but decisions on community partners, I mean, this is really a critical board decision. I mean, there's very little input that staff can give you because it's really just you all, you know, I guess, vote in favor of what you think your constituents would want to give. And so, and it's kind of that way throughout the budget process. I mean, as we get into the departments that we manage, there will be some recommendations, but really, I mean, from a policy making perspective, even though it's maybe a little awkward to consider the budget a policy, but it really is. I mean, that's really going to be in your court. And so, and as we saw last year, it got, you know, it got a little, there was some heated discussions, and so just prepare for that, I suppose. But
This is probably, since I've been a part of this is probably one of the tougher decisions that we make due to the fact that we're not operating on unlimited funds, and
yeah,
we know that community partners need funds to maintain what they're doing, so it gets a little tough what they need and what we can do. So, yeah, this is probably some of the tougher decisions we have to make, so.
I'll just say I try to provide you the best information that I can give you in regards to what you guys' feedback to me is. So if at any time, you know, you're seeing reports and stuff and you want to see something else, please reach out to me and let me know what exactly you want to see, because I'm happy to provide you whatever information that you want that will help you make a better decision. And feel good about that. So you guys just need to communicate with us and let us know.
Good. Anything else, John? Nope. I think it's commissioner comments and board reports. Want to start on?
Yeah, I attended the Wellsville meeting the other day. I'll get over with Tammy. I'm on their notification list, so I'll give her send her and ask her for you to be put on that, so you'll get copies of their agendas and dates and so forth.
that would be great.
Okay. Jerry Mowry, I think you met Jerry here with there. He is retired. He's got 3 more weeks at Wellsville, and he'll be leaving. They've already have a replacement. I'm not going to try and say the guy's name because I didn't quite hear it, but he was sitting right in front of me. But he has been backup person for him for quite a while, and full-time somewhere else for several years. And so he's already accepted the position, so it'll just be a smooth transition right from one to the other. And he's already been involved in several things that's going on and happening. And I know they got 20 homes right now under beginning or in stages on their buildings up there right now for homes in City of Wellsville. They did, I didn't catch it all because some of us with their attorney over the phone, and Bill's a real soft-spoken chairman, so sometimes you don't get it all from sitting on the back row. But I know that they're putting together their bonding issue and everything for their infrastructure and everything for across the road at Klein's Trucking. I know he said they met with them one more time, and so I hate to quote all of it because he said he'd be talking to David and their construction person up there, be relaying to him where they were at and what they were doing. So, but they are moving on everything in that way. They did receive that evening the same type of award that our sheriff's department received from the AAA. They did get a silver award for their work up there, and that was pretty nice of everything to get police department and that so forth to actually get an award for improving on what they do on their day-to-day. And that's pretty well it for up there. I know Colt is our county representative on the Food Policy Council, but he's not here today, so I do serve on the board for the RC&D on that council. And one thing that's important that they've accomplished, they're working with Central Heights School District. Is actually, none of you know, they're putting in a food pantry at the school as part of their cafeteria part and separate entrances and different things. Well, they've got a couple of grants, and they're actually starting something I've been trying to start for a long time here in the county, is a mobile delivery of pantry-type food, kind of like Harvester does, only this is on a smaller scale.
What is a food pantry, Don? Sorry to cut you off, but what is a food pantry?
They actually, just like Hope House, similar to Hope House, very similar. It's donated canned goods and foods and so forth they get from different organizations. And I'm not going to explain I don't know how they've laid out their policy,
Sure.
who, what, and where, because different ones do it different ways. ECAN kind of is open, where Hope House is everybody has to sign up, and Harvesters is type of an open situation. So I'm not real sure on Central Heights. I'm sure they probably similar to Hope Houses, where maybe you have to be signed up ahead of time and approved and so forth. So it's just in the beginning. The school down there is supporting it really well, and a couple of different organizations put money into it. And I think it's some of the teachers and the school board and everybody is back behind it. And they're going to start small, like just deliver to one or two communities to begin with and see how it works, and then possibly spread it out even further to the other little communities in the town. I think it'll be basically doing the same thing as Hope House, only they'll come to your door instead of you having to come to their door. I went to Rantoul City meeting the other night. There, just something that's happening in all the little communities, and starting with Rantoul. Kansas City Power and Light is going through and upgrading all their lighting systems for their street lights, and they're actually updating them all to LED lighting. And so I think Rantoul probably is the first town they're starting with, because I know they said Lane was coming next. And they're actually going to go through there and upgrade all their street lights in town and make them all LED lighting on it. And they also offered there's 3 or 4, they're putting together, Jan will probably hear from them, they're putting in another rec group, trying to put it back together for their ballpark down there. And they have several volunteers, and Kansas City Power and Light has volunteered while they're in town doing that. They'll go up and they turn on all their lights, and they volunteered to take a truck up there and change all their lighting out, bulbs, not fixtures, but to do all that, which that's pretty hard to do for somebody without a regular power truck. And so they volunteered to do that for the city. And the city has, they're going to have, I maybe mentioned it before, they've approved, they always have a big fireworks display the Saturday before the 4th. They always do. And it's really good. If none of you has ever been to it, I can't believe you've never been to it. It probably won't be this year because I said it, but they put on a whale of a fireworks display. And it's really nice, and it's not overly crowded with people. And the city this year has agreed to put on a barbecue ahead of time, provide hot dogs and hamburgers and baked beans and so forth for the community. So it's the one big thing that small town does, to give back to the community, and it's open to the public. And they even notify all the other little towns and stuff of when they're doing it and how they're doing it. So that's all I got.
Last Wednesday, I had some business owners ask me to attend the meeting with the business owners and the chamber, and they discussed the Legacy Park and the different options that there were. And I thought it was a very productive meeting. It really showed the business owners that the chamber was, and the construction company were actually listening to them and coming up with some solutions. So I thought it was a very productive meeting. Friday, I also attended the meeting at the sheriff's office. And I'm not sure, did you tell them about the grant that they got? So how many, there was like 19 vehicles. I think they each have a bag now for like water rescues. To give them information on water rescues with training to come. And then I caught the end of the First Friday Forum with Blaine Finch. It made me very much appreciate that we don't have a court telling us how we have to spend our money. And the real challenge that they have with trying to provide the funding for education and then with a little bit left over to provide all the other services that they have to provide to the state. So on Monday, I attended the study session of the City of Ottawa, and again, there was more discussion on Legacy Park, and the city did approve the allowing the alley and the parking lot to be used for that, and however they decide to do that. Also, they're putting out for bid their chip and seal roads. And I think we're having a sauerkraut business coming into Main Street, which will be interesting. On Monday night, I went to the Princeton City Commission meeting, and they are also, all their streetlights are being changed to LED. And I think that's actually they're not giving an option, they're just saying this is what's gonna happen. And then their playground is still very much a top item in the city of Princeton. And then I went to the groundbreaking of Legacy Square. I thought that Rick Howard did a great job of representing the county, and if you need an extra person for helping fill potholes, I think this is your man. He did, yeah, good job.
I did it. I had the biggest shovel. For it.
Yeah, I think you did good.
Right.
Went to the sheriff's deal on Friday morning, and I think they got the bronze award. I think I'm right on that, on the safety, and they got their bag of some water rescue equipment they have available in every one of their patrol cars. Also, I went to KOFO's Home and Garden Show at Copper Center there Saturday, and want to wish KOFO happy birthday. It's their 70th year serving the public of this area, and I think it's really nice to have a radio station in your community that's really community oriented and does a lot of community good and everything they do. But it is a real good show there at Gopper Center, and that's it. I missed the groundbreak. I would like to see see Rick doing a little shoveling.
It definitely was a little shoveling, that's true. Okay, Monday, I attended Williamsburg City Council. It was a fairly short meeting for them. They talked about a water rate change, talked about their streets and ditches. Probably the most interesting thing that's going on with them and several of the other cities in Franklin County, they have a meeting tonight at 7 o'clock at the District Court building. It's a roundtable discussion. They basically think Richmond, Princeton, Lane, Rantoul, and Pomona and Williamsburg are all interested in this. What they're looking at is none of them really are able to afford a full-time ordinance officer, and they're having a lot of issues with dogs running at large and things like that. So they don't really have a court system, any of them, to deal with this, because if they had an ordinance officer, tickets issued, they're going to have a court to get into with the tickets and so forth. So this discussion tonight is mainly to talk about whether they could go together and work together and each share some of the cost and have like an ordinance officer that would be in one town on certain days, another town on another day. They've already talked to one of a judge in the area, and he's willing to take this on and do a court once a month or once every couple of weeks, whatever. And he's told them that he would do that if they work this out. So I think tonight is going to be a discussion that amongst the cities that want to be a part of this to see if they can do something and get something worked out, which I think is great when the small towns are able to work together and solve a problem that they all have. if this comes about, and I believe it will. I think they're all serious about it. They all have the same problems when it comes to animals running loose, when it comes to, houses and vehicles that need taken care of. I think this will benefit all of them. So that was the main thing on Williamsburg. Tuesday, I went to the executive board meeting for FCDC. Main thing on that was they talked about their strategic plan. They had updates from that. They're still in the process of searching for a new director, so that was talked about some. And then yesterday I went to the groundbreaking also, and like David said, I was impressed with the crowd they had. There was a lot of people there, and I thought it went good, and I think a lot of people are excited to see the finished product of this. So that's all I've been
I'd
to.
like to mention one thing I forgot, when you mentioned the rescue equipment, the guy needs to have kudos, Mr. James Savage, which is the fire chief for Potawatomi Township. He actually wrote this grant and researched it and got it and did it, out of his own. He's not, personally gained. He didn't even want to get up there when they were taking the pictures but James, that people don't know it, he's wrote a lot of grants for a lot of things here, and I know even for my organization, he has helped us with in the years past. So I think it's really good when the fire chief or anybody like that provide their own time to promote stuff in the community, and it was a heck of a bunch of equipment there.
And more than that, the grant only covered half of it.
Yeah,
So he then raised the other half. of
he
the
raised
budget.
the other half, so it was $10,000, I believe, total on it. So just want to, I forgot about that, but James needed a little recognition on that for the work he does in the community.
Okay. The only other thing I see on the upcoming events, don't mark your calendar for March the 20th, a joint luncheon. Dr. Cobbs knows that's spring break, and he's going to look into a different date.
I believe we've agreed on the 13th, so next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday for the luncheon.
I will verify that and get notice out to all of you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what the city has on theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody have anything else? If not, would look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Have a motion, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned.